What's good? What's good? What's good, fam? I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Voice of the Fans podcast. Got my man Freddie Stevenson with me, Mr. South Florida or Central Florida, excuse me. Let me get it right. Central Florida. Today we're gonna Freddie promoting a book, and we're gonna talk about his story, his book writing, new author in the world, and he has a message for a lot of people to hear. So, Freddie, thank you for your time.
No problem. I appreciate you for having me on your platform.
Man, we're just trying to share this good message with the people. I think your message is one that resonates with athletes and then the people in the world today. I mean, as we're coming through the back end of a pandemic, this message is for anybody who struggled through that pandemic and just trying to persevere through life. So I think your message is solid, man. So let's get right into this. Talk about obviously you grew up in Florida. What part of Florida? You say Central Florida, correct?
Yeah, I grew up in Lakeland, Florida.
Okay. What give the people a sample of what Lakeland, Florida is like? I know it's hot. I know,
Yeah,
I know it's hot, and I know it's humid. But outside of that, man, give them a sample of what it's like, man. Is everybody down there chasing gators, man? Is everybody
yeah, we
down there?
super country. It's a super country area everywhere, man. Like you got the Gators. That's what's big here. And shoot, my coach would always joke with me all the time when I was in college. He's like, man, do they still have blockbusters in Polk County? Like we real country. But yeah, we real country, man. It ain't much to do here.
Okay, okay. But now, are you be truthful with the people, man? Are you wrestling gators? Has that crossed your mind? Are you in the swamp boat chasing them down? What's up with those?
Hey,
What's up with you guys, man?
I may have had to put a few in the headlock a few times.
You guys is bored down there. I tell you that, man. Um, so I spent a little a brief spell down in Florida. I don't think the people around the country, man, understand what youth football means to that region. Um, what did it mean to you? Please talk about how big youth football is down there, and then I figured out. I figured out why a lot of talent comes from Florida once I was spend some time there. But talk about how big youth football is down there.
Yeah, man. As soon as you know you got a kid that's interested in playing sports or even coming up, they're trying to put a football in his hands just to get him to get out there and do something productive with his life. And like you said, Florida is the football state. It's big. Florida, Georgia, the South, football's big here. So if you're not playing ball, you better be doing something super productive, making something out of your life because they're going to look at you like you're crazy. So
If you're not,
yeah, without a doubt. So when I was growing up, that's how it was with me. I used to always run around the house with a football in my hands, and you see the game all the time, and you want to be one of those guys you see on the TV screen. And Florida is so much talent that comes out of here, and you want to be one of those guys. So early on, everybody. I remember being 3 years old playing with guys that 2, 3 years older than me playing tackle football. Like, it's big here.
yeah, man. One thing I realized, and I always question that. So I grew up in the Northwest. I grew up in Seattle, a long way, the complete opposite of what Florida is. It's the Northwest. You guys are the Southeast, so it's a big difference away, a world away, actually. But at the end of football season, man, we put the helmet up, we put our cleats up, and then we go play basketball. And then when basketball season over, we go play baseball. And when I went down to Florida, I realized that it's a year-round sport down there. You guys got spring football where you guys are suiting up, man. You guys got the scrimmages are like real life games down there. I mean, I'm talking about little league to high school to obviously in college, but it's a year-round sport down there, man. That's some of that's kind of cheating, isn't it?
Hey, man, downhill football just don't stop. That's the lifestyle. If you ain't playing it organized, you playing it in the streets. It's just a lifestyle for us in Florida. And
Okay.
when the season is over with it, like you said, it never truly stops. You're gonna do something involving the game in some aspect.
Yeah, yeah, that kind of blew me away. And then I was like, okay, I see why there's talent coming out of here every year. Some of the top talent in college, some of the top talent in the NFL come from that southeast region. Is because they play year round. They don't take a break. So I can dig it, man. I can dig it. I wish I kind of envy that environment actually, because I always wanted to play, but everybody wanted to do whatever sport was in season. But when I grew up, so when I saw that, it kind of blew me away. But Freddie, before we get into this message, man, let the people know what your social media handle is, how they can find you.
Okay, without a doubt, on Instagram and Twitter, it's the same. You can follow me at StruggleMade105. And as we get into the story, you'll learn the significance behind that social media handle.
Okay, Struggle Made 105, right?
Yep.
Um, all right, man. So now you try your hand at I mean, well, let's touch on your football career at Florida State first. And you persevered in high school with the leg injury, and then made it to Florida State. Some people would say that's the success in itself, getting to the FSU, and then not only FSU, do you go to FSU, you become a 3-year starter, right? And then you guys win a ring. Like, how big was that?
Yeah, it was huge. And for anybody that hasn't come across my story, they think when they look over my background, they think everything just happened. Like, you look at the background on me, I'm a top 250 player coming out of high school. And so they think everything was just, I was always that guy, but that wasn't really the case. My 11th grade year, I remember I had an injury, as you said, and they told me, doctors were telling me that my career was in jeopardy, that I may never play again. So I remember not knowing if I was going to ever even be able to play the game again. But ultimately, some teams were willing to take a risk on me. And you know how the game goes. Once somebody sees you, somebody else take a chance on you, then they're willing to take a chance on you. So we fast forward later, Florida State's giving me an opportunity in-state school. A lot of in-state schools were scared off by my injury. And so I decided to go with them because I wanted to stay close to my family. And I get to Florida State, come out as a linebacker, and my leg was kind of giving me issues because I was gaining weight and my body wasn't really used to the weight that I was gaining.
Okay.
And my coaches, they were sitting me down trying to figure out what was going on. And I really didn't know what to tell them. I had never been at that point before. It was something new to me. I couldn't give them an answer. They're like, man, you're too good of a player for us not to find a spot for you on this field. So if we can't figure this thing out on the defensive side, we know you play offense in high school. I had a few offense on the offensive side of the ball. So they switched me over to fullback. And it was the biggest blessing for me because, to be honest, if I didn't make that switch, a lot of people tell me that I should have stayed at linebacker, may still be playing in the league. But I don't think if I made that switch, I don't even think I'd make it to the league because my leg was acting up on me. And I may get caught up in the shuffle with all those guys, all those highly touted guys on the roster. So switching to fullback, I really believe saved my career. And go ahead.
Now, how much linebacker did you play? Or you said you played running back or some offense in high school. How much linebacking did you play before you went to FSU as a linebacker?
Yeah, I came out of high school as a linebacker. That's what I was.
Okay.
I was top 250, I believe, 15th ranked linebacker in the country.
Okay. Okay. All right. So then going back to playing the offensive side of the ball. Now that it's a different mentality. It's a different mentality that you have to have playing linebacker versus running back. I mean, one is a hit hurdle, one is a hit E, obviously.
Yeah.
Which did you enjoy more? Did you enjoy kind of laying the wood, or did you enjoy kind of breaking tackles and getting in the end zone?
I think it's both the same, to be honest. Because I'm playing fullback, so I'm leading the way for the running back. And so coaches always telling me be the hammer, not the nail. I'm getting taught the same thing on the defensive side of the ball. And so we dictate the pace on offense. They got to react to us. So it's so I get the same thing I was doing on the defensive side of the ball. So I was right at home.
Okay, all right. It's a lot of the same, similar skill set.
Yeah, I just don't get. Only thing now I'm not getting to make tackles.
Right. Yeah. Okay. It's just, but on defense side, you get to use a little bit more aggression because you do get to make the tackles and chase guys down. So that was a joy I had in playing the defense. So now you guys win the championship, man. It's the first time in years that Florida State kind of was up in that pedestal, up in that upper echelon to football, man. So what was that like? How was bringing Tallahassee back, bringing the focal point back to FSU? Talk about what that was like.
Yeah, it was great for the city of Tallahassee. Florida State, a program with a lot of tradition. Just think about all those prominent teams in the 90s. That team, I think they had like a 10-year run. Still hasn't been done to this day. They finished in like the top 3 every year for 10 years. And so for so long, we're trying to get back to that. So to bring the championship to Tallahassee after all that history, it was huge. And yeah, it was huge. And just be able to come in and experience that, it was a blessing, man. And seeing how the city responded to that and being around the guys and learning how to ultimately prepare like a champion, I think it was a beautiful experience in itself, and I think it prepared me a lot for this life journey.
Okay, so I do want to get to that transition. I want to come back actually to that transition to where finishing college, because there were some comments that you made that was kind of eye-opening to me, and I want to hear your standpoint on this. But then you go on to the NFL and you sign with the Bears. You want to talk about that transition and kind of what your days with the Bears were like?
Yeah, it was kind of similar to college. I think at Florida State, they prepared us for the league. A lot of guys come, especially under our coach, they transitioned smoothly because they're prepared. I wasn't shell shocked by anything. The schedule was very similar. I think the thing that shocked me in the NFL was we had a lot more free time. So I didn't really know what to do with that free time. In college, you're going to tutoring or something else. But once you're done in the league, you're done. You got control of everything else. But I don't think the NFL, as far as practicing schedule, is as tough as college, and they take a lot more off your body, I believe, honestly. So I feel like we were prepared going in.
Yeah, they changed the rules a lot here over the last 10 to 15 years for the benefit of the players to try to extend that and extend their playing career, right? So when you say it takes a lot, college kind of takes it was much more demanding. I kind of understand that from the rule standpoint, where they don't let you guys do 2-a-days anymore. You were doing 2-a-days in the pros, right?
No, we didn't do 2-a-days.
Yeah. And so you mentioned that there's a political side of football that you weren't expecting once you got to the pros. You want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, and I think a lot of guys, they know how it is. But yeah, when I got up there, you play ball, sports in general. Anytime you're a baller at any level, it's the best players play. And even at the collegiate level, you'll have some politics involved, but you'll get to the point where, all right, I know they want this guy to play, but I got my job on the line. We're going to put this guy in the game. So when you get to the pro level, it's a little different. They'll kind of move things around to ensure that the guys that they have personal relationships with, or whatever the case may be, get opportunities, and guys that they know may be better and may be a better fit for the team, they'll kind of limit their opportunities so that they don't truly have a chance to make the team. So seeing that was kind of weird to me.
Right.
All I could really do in that situation was control what I could control.
Sure.
It was definitely weird, and it was a shock to me. And I was just trying to do whatever I could to put out good film.
Was that now I know in the NFL it's more breaking down. You spend more time with your position and your position coaches, right? Than kind of the head coach. Was that all throughout the whole team? Was that the concept, the mindset throughout the whole team? You saw that with not only with the running backs, but with the linebackers, with the defensive ends, with the safeties, with the wide receivers. You saw that same kind of political thought process.
I think it just depends. You got some guys that played the game and they're true to the game, like they're gonna do whatever they can to win. And you got other guys, they get caught up in that system and shoot, they're trying to make sure they take care of their family. So if somebody's in their ear, then they may, move some things around a bit to ensure their job and take care of a guy that may be buddies with his agent or something like that.
Right.
They're trying to protect those relationships, some guys, but then you got some guys like, man, I don't care about that. We're gonna do what's right.
Okay.
Of the game.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Something that never crossed my mind there. So I understand what you're saying, but I didn't never think of it that way. So that's interesting. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah, it's no different than the real world. That's what I had to kind of put into my mind frame. It's no different in the real world. Somebody may be more qualified for a job, but they may not get that job because this person is connected to a certain individual.
Sure.
It happens in sports as well.
It makes sense. It makes sense. All right, now, so let's talk about now your foray to being an author. Like, what initially, message aside, you have a great message, so we're gonna get into that. But becoming an author, what encouraged, what sent you down this road? What encouragement did you have? What was the thought process? There's a lot of forums, a lot of mediums. I mean, you can do the talk radio, you can do the podcast. What made you want to be an author and put that message out?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, I can still do all those things, but
Certainly, yeah.
the biggest thing was like we just talked about. I've seen a lot of guys go through that shuffle that I went through, and a lot of them struggled after the game trying to figure things out because they just couldn't understand the fact that, okay, I'm better than this guy, but I got screwed over. A lot of guys don't, still to this day, they're struggling with that. And I've seen a lot of guys that aren't able to move on and potentially go figure out what's next for them in life. And also with that, some guys, they have great careers, whatever the case may be, but they don't know what to do after ball. So once I was ultimately able to find my purpose after going through that dark time of trying to figure out what was next, I was like, man, I got to tell my story. I've been through way too much, and I know it's somebody out there that I can help get through their struggle. So that's what really led me to writing this book. I'm like, man, if I can impact one guy that's going through this struggle and motivate him to keep pushing and find his purpose, then I've done my job.
Okay, I mean that's a great message that you're thinking of others. So growing up in Florida, your mom, father wasn't present. Well, you had four brothers and sisters, including yourself, or
Yeah, I had
multiple?
three brothers and two sisters that were living with us. I have other siblings, but they weren't living with us
Okay.
from my dad's early relationship.
Okay. Now, are you guys still close? Do you still keep in contact with your
Yeah, my
siblings?
all of us tight.
Okay, that's cool. That's what's up. That's what's up. Um, so let's get into this message. Then the we know why you wanted to write the book. You wanted to share this message that you've been through. Now, trials over triumph. Let's talk about this message specifically. Um, and I guess the best place to start is kind of why you can say why the social media handle and explain that, and then that'll kind of help expound on the reasons for the book, the title of the book, I should say.
Okay, without a doubt. Yeah, so as we're coming up, my father, he's incarcerated for drug trafficking, and my mother, she has to raise 5 kids on her own. And at times, we found ourselves homeless, scraping around for food, bouncing around from place to place, just trying to find a place to lay our heads at. And I remember a day where it's like 8 o'clock in the evening, and we hadn't eaten the whole entire day. And my baby sister, she started crying because she's hungry. So my mother, she just gathers everybody together and she starts walking us, pushing my baby sister in the stroller. We didn't know where we was going. We come up on the McDonald's and she walks us inside the McDonald's and gives us a cheeseburger. And at the time we like looking around at each other like, okay, there's 5 of us. Like, what are we gonna do with one cheeseburger? And we didn't know at the time my mom only had $1 to her name.
Sure.
So as the cashier tells her the total, she says it comes out to $1.05. We see my mom pull out $1 and she asks the cashier, is it okay if she just gives her $1 because she doesn't have a nickel? So for some reason the lady was like, no, we need the nickel. I'll be in trouble if I don't take all the money. So my mom had to go around and beg for a nickel. And it was embarrassing. I remember her gathering everybody up. Somebody was generous enough to give her the nickel. She gathered us all up and walked us outside, and she started slicing it into the 5 pieces for us. Started handing it out, and as she's handing it out and we're eating, my older sister, she notices that my mom isn't eating, and she looks at her. She's like, "Oh, why aren't you eating?" And she tried to offer some food, and we all got together and were trying to offer a piece of our food. And she just turned it all down and just started bursting into tears. And that moment, it stood with me throughout my whole entire life, and that's really
I
ultimately
imagine.
what motivated my grind. Whenever times got tough, whenever I wanted to give up, that moment. And I remember making a promise to my mom because she always pushed me to play ball. I used to run around with the football all the time. I made a promise to her that I'll make it to the NFL and change our family's life. And that's
How old were you at this time?
I'm like 3 or 4 at the time.
Okay,
I don't
all
remember.
right.
It was a while ago, so I don't remember the exact age. But yeah, I was young.
Okay, but man, so that really sat with you though. That sat with you
Yeah,
for a
I
long
was
time, man.
see everything that was going on.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, all right. I mean that's a wild story, man, and so many people appreciate you for sharing it. So congratulations for your success to kind of again get through high school, go on to Florida State, win your national championship, um, keep your promise to your mom, and get to the NFL. Regardless how long the career lasted, you was able to satisfy that promise. What type of feedback have you received from your peers? Maybe some of those you went to school with, you went to college with, some of those you played in NFL with. You said is still kind of struggling. Um, what kind of been the feedback you received for those guys?
Yeah, I just have conversations with guys, just trying to motivate them or just pick their brain a little bit and try to see what's next for them because I know the grind is tough. I've talked with guys that shoot are vets and played this game a long time, and they talk about how the transition was tough for them. These guys that you would think didn't have any struggles. So for these guys, I'm trying to still guide them, but they say, man, it's tough, and a lot of them are still trying to play this game. They still got that itch. They want to go back because they feel like they didn't get a fair shot, but it's out of their control at this point. And ultimately, it's me just letting them know, like, even if you don't play this game, you've done your job. You control what you can control. Ultimately, it's not up to you. But just going out here and figuring out what's next for you after this game, even if you never play another down, I want you to go figure out what's next for you because if you go on to play 5, 10 years at this point, all right, that may be all you get out of this game, but you still got a long life left to live. So you need to figure out at this point while you have all this free time, figure out what else you're passionate about. Figure out what else drives you because you can't play football until you're 90. So I need you to figure those things out. And yeah, I believe like a lot of people ask me if I want to play ball still. I'm like, man, no, like I was in the fortunate position where I got out of the game early, not by choice, but ultimately I believe it led me to my true life's purpose. And so I got to walk in my purpose a little bit earlier than others. So that's my ultimate goal to help people find their purpose. And I've talked to a lot of guys. I know it's a struggle, it's a transition. Sometimes myself, you find yourself like, man, shoot, I love to strap it up one time and just go run down on the kickoff. But ultimately, life's bigger. Life's bigger than that. You got to figure out what else you're gonna do with your life. But I know for a lot of guys, it's a struggle for them.
Yeah, that's and then not even for ball players, but just for people in general. Finding that purpose, finding that passion, finding that purpose, and transitioning from high school to college, college after college. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to just where's the degree going to take you? What should and if they get it? So finding that purpose is huge. So when did you get into motivational speaking, and what kind of led you down that path? Did you study that at FSU?
Nah, it's crazy because when I was at Florida State, I wouldn't talk in front of groups. I wouldn't talk at all. Public speaking was like my number one thing that I wouldn't do. They'll call me up, and I was the guy that if I talk, everybody shut up and they listen to. So they love me
Okay.
when I talk. But
Okay.
anytime I'm talking, I'm shivering, my voice is cracking. I just like doing it. And so I don't know how. Like when the opportunity came, I'm going through my phase where I don't truly know what's next. I'm depressed, suicidal thoughts across me. I'm living a crazy lifestyle. But a mentor reached out to me. He was like, man, I want you to come speak at this event. We have an all-star game going on at this high school this weekend, and we want you to be the headliner. I never did that before. I never spoke in front of a large crowd. I've never done public speaking. He's like, man, I don't care. He's like, you come tell your story. Like, this is what's meant for you. And I remember like it was yesterday. He gave me the money. I was like, they paying me this money, and I never did this before. So he's like, man, he's like, I believe in you. He's like, get prepared. Like anything you set your mind to, you've accomplished it. So I was like, man, I'm finna start practicing, man.
I'm gonna start speaking.
And I remember driving up to the event, and I was like, man, nah, I can't do this. I'm finna call him and tell him he can have the money back. And something just came over me. I was like, man, I'm gonna just go do it. Like I can't take no steps back at this point. I gotta just take a step forward and figure out if this is meant for me. And I remember going to the event, and I know at this point you're waiting to hear the story about how it was a successful event. You're not getting that. It was terrible. I'm nervous, and I was speaking too long. People looking at me like I started off with everybody's attention, but I just went on rambling. But it was crazy the response that I got after the event. People coming up to me, telling me, "Oh, your story changed my life." Like, whoa, that's crazy. Like, I'm not even good at this thing. And people are exchanging numbers with me, reaching out to me, and then I booked a whole bunch of speaking gigs after that. And it's crazy because in that moment, a feeling rushed over me that I never got while I was playing the game.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I never got while I was playing the game. So I was like, man, this may be what I'm meant to do.
That's pretty cool. So sold out seats to hear Freddie Stevenson speak, huh?
Huh?
I said sold out seats to hear Freddie Stevenson speak, huh?
Yeah, we could say that. I think it was for the All-Star game, but I was the halftime headliner.
Hey, well, you carried on for that. You carried on, so that's pretty cool. I want you to talk about you talked about. I do want to get into the depression. I want to get into the suicidal thoughts. So obviously that's relevant and huge. What kind of pulled you out of? Was it this opportunity? Your mentor giving you this opportunity that kind of pulled you out of the depression? How did you know you were depressed?
I just remember sitting up for a while, just feeling like my life was worthless because I wasn't playing ball.
Okay.
Like I had no value, and then when you're depressed, at that point, the pride kicks in as well. So you're kind of overthinking things. Like, man, everybody's laughing at me, this, that, and the third, and like, man, if I'm not playing ball, then I don't have any reason to live. Like for the longest, you think that a lot of your purpose is tied into being that guy on the field. I didn't truly know who I was outside of that. My whole identity was tied into that. So once I wasn't playing the game anymore, I had to deal with actually figuring out who I was, and I didn't have a clue. So that's when you get the depression. That okay, if I'm not doing this, then there's no reason for me to live. And yeah, just a lot of things, and just it's really crazy because every time those thoughts came in, it was always a mentor that, like, call it God, call it destiny, that reached out to me with some words of encouragement to keep me going. And it's crazy how some of these things happen. Like you see them in a movie, you're like, oh, that'd never happen in real life, but these things really happen. Mm-hmm. And that's really what kept me going in these times. And that moment, my mentor reached out to me. I believe he had that on his heart. I believe he had me on his heart for a while, and that was his let's save Freddie moment, and it truly saved my life.
That's so big right there, Freddie. You don't know how many high school kids who don't go on to college have those same thoughts and same feelings. How many and I can't speak to this, but you just spoke to it. College kids going to the pros who have that same whose identity is wrapped up into what they do, playing ball, whether it's basketball, whether it's football, whether it's baseball. They get wrapped up in that, and then they do feel kind of worthless and as if their life doesn't mean anything, man. So that's a super big message that you're sharing. What I'd like to ask you now about is that correlation between. I think you took a turn and start to get into the street life a little bit. That correlation between the street hustling and then actually using those transferable skills that you learned on the football field. You learn communicating with your teammates. You learn. I personally know that football taught me a whole lot. Football taught me leadership, and I didn't go to college. Football taught me leadership. Football taught me hard work. Football taught me perseverance. Taught me how to be a team player. Football taught me how to listen and learn. These are just lessons I learned just playing all the way through high school. And but what I didn't know, and it took some time for it to sink in for me, was those transferable skills that you did learn playing, being a teammate, and then kind of some of that street life that help you to be a professional, a productive member of society, or in professional settings. We see it more and more now with the infusion of rap music and some of the how the rappers have gone mainstream. But that infusion, not a lot of people recognize how to take those skills that they do have. And you mentioned this in one of the articles I read, how to take the skills that they do have and use those for successful ventures that they have in life. Talk about that, Freddie. Talk about how you came to understand that, and then how you're doing that now.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. To be honest, like the street life is something that I battled my whole entire life, just coming up in the environment that I come up in. Like I remember in high school, just watching my mom still needing for things and struggling, having to watch her do that. And I'm going to guys, family, friends that are those guys in the neighborhood and asking them to kind of put me on so I can make some money to help my mom out. And they're like, nah, man, focus on ball. Like you gonna make it. Just focus on ball. So I'm kind of protected coming up. But I remember even in college, man, when I get my scholarship checks, I'm giving money back to my mom. So that's like seeing my family struggle my whole entire life, and then I get to the league and still trying to get back in the league after I'm no longer on the team, just spending all my money on training, spending all my money on training. Until I had only $650 left. I'm like, man, at this point, I got to make some money. Everybody's still struggling. I'm barely making ends meet. I got $650 left in my name, so let's see what we can make happen with this. And ultimately, like it's crazy because, like you said, those skills and just the work ethic I have for anything. If I'm gonna do something, I'm doing it to the fullest. And it was on the negative side though, so I'm able to take 650 in the span. I remember writing in the book in the span of 3 months, I turned that to $20,000. And it's a lot that I wrote originally in the original manuscript of the book. Like in the next month, I run that up to $50,000. So you go from 20 to 50. Like I really got my plug in the game, and I was eating. And I'm talking about 50 liquid cash, not re-up money.
Right,
so
right.
when you bring in the fact of the re-up money, I'm sitting on $75,000 in 4 months easily.
Right, right, right.
So just the work ethic I always had that helped me out, but ultimately I knew that it wasn't my purpose. I felt like I was selling myself short. Like, of course, I'd be in the streets, I'd be a street millionaire right now. But I remember a guy one day, we had a transaction for $10,000, and he's talking to me. This guy has money, I got money. I'm one of the guys, and he's like, man, I know you. He's like, man, you Freddie Stevenson, you played at Florida State, played with the Bears. I'm like, dang, that's crazy. He's like, man, you shouldn't be out here doing this, man. You didn't do all that stuff to get to this point and just do this. Like, you could have came straight out of high school.
To come back here, right? Yeah.
He was like, man, you meant to go on and do way more than this. You meant to go on and be great in life. And that kind of stuck with me for the longest. And even though I continued doing what I was doing because the fast money, it's kind of hard to stop. It's addicting.
Yeah.
Ultimately, one thing led to another where my freedom was on the line and I needed a miracle to get out of it. And I remember praying and sitting down talking with God, like, man, if you get me out of this, I'll change my life around for the better. I'll never touch it again. And he got me out of it. So I changed my life. And I remember going through that situation where I'm under like a hot investigation. And this is like, I'm under investigation when I'm talking to the school for my All-Star event. So I'm talking to them not knowing if I'm going to be jammed up. My daughter is born around that time. I'm holding her not knowing if I'm going away. So all I was doing at that point was kind of stepping out on faith. And it ultimately worked out for me. And just like you said, using those transferable skills, I was like, man, listen, I wasn't able to make it in ball. And I think your outlook and perspective on everything is important. I was able to go do this in the streets. You got dudes that been in the streets for years and they weren't able to do what I did.
Sure, yeah.
So if I apply this to something legit, I've been able to make it to the NFL after beating all these obstacles. The odds are stacked against me. If I apply that to something legit, I can absolutely change the world.
It'd be dangerous, yeah.
It was me putting that into my mind and telling myself I'm not letting up until I do that.
Okay, all right, that's pretty dope, man. Again, people need to hear this message, Freddie. So I appreciate you for sitting down and talking to me about this. One more time, there's still more to go, but just one more time, let them know your social media handle.
Struggle Made 105.
There you go. Okay. Now you mentioned something earlier. I read in one of the articles that you felt college should do more to better prepare athletes for life after football.
Yeah,
Or life after football or athletics. Now, um, I'm gonna take you at your word for it, but I struggle with that opinion. From my understanding, it's kind of what you do with the skills that in the environment that you're in. Whether you make a friend, where you listen to a mentor, you take these extra classes to point you in the right direction. Why do you feel that colleges should do more for these students?
I think it's when I said in the interview, I was saying more so it's like these guys that after they play, they can't reach out for help. And from that aspect, a lot of these guys, you made all this money, you made a living off these guys, and they can't reach out to you. Right. But also from the sense, like you said, guys can of course explore other aspirations while they're in college, but you got to think sometimes that's frowned upon. If a guy's focusing too much on extracurricular activities, then they're not locked in on ball.
You got a point there. Good point.
So they kind of conflict a little bit. Is it a student athlete? What is it?
Yeah, good point.
So are we trying to prepare these guys for life, or are we just trying to win a few games while we have them? And that's the ultimate challenge I have. Are we trying to turn these boys into men? Or are we just trying to use their skill set to win us a few games and look good?
Well, we already know the answer to that question. We already know the answer to that one, so no need to go further on that one. Why do you kind of touched on it earlier? But why do you feel so obligated to share your story? And why you answer that one for me? I know you kind of touched on it earlier, but just elaborate on why you feel obligated to share your story, Freddie.
Not only to help somebody out that's out there, whether it be an athlete or somebody in life struggling with a transition in their life. They may be in their darkest moment. I was in my darkest moment and I was going to be found purpose. But also to make sure that individuals are accountable, hold individuals accountable. And so my story, when people go back and they look at my history, my background, team captain, guy that everybody, like, I'm the number one fullback coming up. If you ask anybody, they tell you I'm playing 10, 15 years. So for me to have to go back to the streets, it's like, man, I look at, and not just my situation, guys that have been in way worse situations than me, and they've had far more success than me in college. It's like, okay, what are we doing to truly help these guys? What are we doing to fill that gap? Because if we're trying to turn boys into men, and we bring these kids in, we tell that to their families, we're gonna treat them like they're one of our own. We can't turn our head when they come back later needing some help. And it's not hand out whatever case may be. Just, man, some of these guys, I just need a little direction. I need some mentorship. That may be the case for a lot of guys. And if that's really what it is, helping people out, but also holding people accountable. If we're turning these guys into men, that comes with it.
Yeah. Good point. Answer got to fill in the blank for me. So as Freddie Stevenson, success to me is what?
Success to me is ultimately using my platform to serve others and make an impact in this world as long as I'm living. I don't believe that a life is made purposeful until you impact a life. So just continuing to use my platform, and it's a growing platform, each and every day, more people are coming across my message and are resonating with it. So as I continue to bring in fans, supporters, and people that are ultimately willing to push my message with me, just continuing to build my message and walk in my purpose until the day that I leave this earth. I don't believe that I will feel like I made it and feel like I lived a successful life until I'm old, grandkids, great grandkids, whatever the case may be. I'm on my deathbed and I can say I impacted lives. I left my mark
Yes,
in this world. I made it, and
gotcha.
I'll be able to leave this earth with closure, with peace.
There you go. It sounds good. Um, Again, as Freddie Stevenson, the people, the person, who is the person or the people that inspire you most?
People that inspire me the most.
Yeah,
I got a few. I got a few. One person. I don't know if you're familiar with Master P.
yeah, sure.
So Master P, that's one of my guys. Just what he's been able to build, coming out of the bottom, coming out of the trenches, and building an empire as a rapper. I know he had a short stint in the NBA. Now he's doing his thing as an entrepreneur. Every single time you see Master P, he has a new product in stores, and every single thing rolling. And a lot of people they laugh, but I'm like, man, that's gold, man. Like,
Yeah,
man, like you go look somewhere and you look at a lot of these entrepreneurs that y'all look up to, and you'll find out a lot of these different brands they own these things. So
right.
teaching me coming from an environment that he comes from, teaching me about black ownership. So he's one of the guys that I definitely look up to. And I say The Rock is another guy, a guy that played the game and they was able to turn himself into a mogul. And I heard that he was homeless at the time with the $7 to his name. So those are definitely two people that I look up to and I respect their rise to the top after overcoming a lot of adversity.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. So I think you got to answer this next question for me. What are some of the things that you want to do in the future? Is it coach? Is it train? Is it write more books? What are you trying to get into in the future? I left out having products in the stores. What you want to put on the shelves?
Hey, listen, when people ask me what I do, my answer all the time is everything.
Okay.
Like Master P says, there's no limit. There's no
Yeah.
limit to what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
And what I don't know if I would ever be a coach, but if I did, it'd probably be at high school level. But I have a passion for impacting lives, especially at this level. But mentorship, involving myself in the community, it's so much that's tied into it. It's tied into my ultimate purpose. So, like everything, we're gonna have our hands in everything. We're gonna make as big of an impact as we can across this world with it.
That's pretty dope, Freddie. Man, we talked for 40 minutes, Freddie. We talked about your life before college, after college, and making it to the league, your dreams, your goals, your aspirations. What do you want people to take away most from your message?
Just ultimately, with my message, you got to trust the process, trust the plan, and never give up on yourself, even at your lowest. And it's a lot of things in life that we won't truly understand while we're going through them. But it's ultimately meant for the betterment of us. You got to go through tests. You got to go through trials. Like in college, they take you through practice to make sure you're prepared for the game. You don't get tested. So ultimately, to make sure you're prepared for that moment, your purpose, you got to get tested. You got to go through some stuff to build some character. And ultimately, that's going to prepare you for the long run. You see so many people, they want instant gratification, not knowing, like, and it's funny to me because I've been through it. Like, man, they don't know if I gave this to them tomorrow, they wouldn't know what to do with it because they haven't been through the fire at all. They ain't gonna know how to handle this. It's gonna be too much for them, and you have to build that over time. And it's a step by step process. And it's a quote out there. I believe it says something like, "People don't understand that people want to skip the process, but they don't know that when you skip through the process, you just lessons. And there's so many lessons that we need to learn along the way to prepare us for this journey and prepare us for success." And that's ultimately how we tell people to trust the process and embrace the struggle. Because every single thing that you're going through at this moment is to prepare you for the future and prepare you for your purpose.
That's dope. That's dope. All right, Freddie. So let's have some fun now. Let's have some fun now. We got some random questions, man. I don't think you could be prepared for this. This is a random. I'm telling you right now, the random. Okay,
Uh,
you ready?
yeah, I'm ready.
Freddie Stevenson. Where is your favorite stereo?
My favorite stereo.
Where is it at? Your favorite stereo?
Dang, they still got shoot, I don't know if they got Radio Shack still up, and I'm gonna say Best Buy.
No, no, no. Like, is it in your car? You got a stereo in your car? You got the surround sound at the house? You
Oh,
got your?
yeah,
Do you listen?
I'm gonna
Do
say
you listen to? Go ahead.
the car.
Okay. Um, Freddie, what do you do with your mismatched socks?
I miss my socks.
Yeah.
I swag them out. One thing I pride myself on is making sure I can drip one anytime I go outside.
Okay. That first time I heard that one. Okay. What is your favorite piece of furniture, Freddie?
My favorite piece of furniture, the couch.
And nothing wrong with that. You got one broken in, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. What is your favorite podcast?
My favorite podcast. We on the Voice of the Fans right now, so I got
There
to.
we go. There we go. There we go. I love it. I love it. Freddie, does pineapple belong on pizza?
I tried it before. I didn't like it, so I say no. Nah.
You didn't like it?
No, I didn't like. I only tried it once though, but maybe the
Okay.
place didn't cook it right. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. You need some fruit on that pizza, man. Um, does sugar go on grits, Freddie?
Shoot, I think it's good.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you're right,
I'm
man.
eating it both ways. I eating it with just salt and with sugar, but they both good to me if it's cooked right.
Yeah, if it's made right, yeah, it's hard to go wrong with grits. So, um, Freddie, Beyond Burger or regular burger?
Oh, regular burger, easy. But don't sleep on the Beyond burgers. 'Cause they nice, they tough.
I haven't tried one. I haven't tried one. Did you try one?
You won't. I promise you. Like a lot of people, they think it's gonna be nasty. Like they think veggie. You won't know it's not a burger.
I was told that, man, but I can't order one. I can't order a Beyond Burger.
I'm about to speak one to you. He be like, "Dang, this burger good," and then they gotta let you know after. Because a lot of
Okay.
people, that's the thing, they have to get over that mental battle first.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. What's your favorite app or the app that you use the most?
My favorite app, the app that I use the most. I'm trying to think, what do I use the most today? Probably Twitter. I'm on Twitter a good amount.
Okay, you're on Twitter. Um, Netflix or Fire Stick?
Fire Stick. We just wrote that Fire Stick and we watched 3 movies.
Everything. There you go. What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie, man. I got the Michael Myers mask in the room. I'm a
Oh
big
boy,
Michael Myers fan, so Halloween.
Halloween. Okay, there you go. What's the best concert, Freddie, you've been to?
The
Best
best.
concert you've been to?
I'm trying to think who they had perform when we were at college. In college, oh, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back to high school when they had T-Pain perform for us. That was a pretty dope when they was at a grad bag.
Who was that? I didn't hear that one.
I have to go back to high school. Maybe it was middle school. They had T-Pain perform for us at
Oh,
grad at our, like grad bash.
oh
It was
shoot, that was
dope.
dope.
Like T-Pain was one of the hottest.
Okay, that was dope. That was dope. Um, what's your now? When we come through Lakeland, Florida, what's a go-to restaurant that we gotta stop at? Lakeland, Florida.
Man, it's a few, but I'm gonna start with. All right, Uncle Al's. It's a wing place in Lakeland, Florida. You got to go there without a doubt. That's the spot. It used to be called Wing Spot, but they changed the name. So
Okay, get to get some wings, huh? That's here, huh? Okay,
now they got a lot of other options. They're gonna have the best lemonade you ever had, and depending
okay,
if they want to make it or not, they got delicious pound cake. It's a lot.
okay. There's a lot going on in Lakeland, huh?
A good amount. You know, Lakeland got the Detroit Tigers, so it's good. Got a good little bit going on.
Okay. Freddie, man, it's been wonderful to talk to you. Is there anything that we haven't covered, man, that you want your fans or followers to know about you?
Nah, man. I just shoot. Y'all make sure y'all show love. Continue. I appreciate y'all listening. Follow me on social media, and as you can see, I'm a motivational guy, but I'm myself. I'm gonna be goofy and I'm gonna have fun. So y'all, any people that follow me, you want to have a good time, you want to have fun, you want to be motivated, I'm the guy to follow. But we gonna have fun, but we also gonna accomplish these goals.
Tell them once again what your social media handle is.
Struggle Mate 105.
And then lastly, tell the people thank you for listening to. Thank you for making our voice your choice.
Thank you for making our voice your choice.
I love it. Thank you, Freddie. Thanks for your time, and I'll send you this link out. I really appreciate your time, man, and congratulations on all your success.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having me.
Have a good one, Chief.
Thank you.